We are jumping into our next series. We are jumping on in and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Babylon. We have the South Korean Zerg player representing On-Site Gaming. It is Solar. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player representing CranKy Gaming, DKZ. It is herO. herO versus Solar. This could be the finals of an ESL Asia. Two of the best from their respective races. Solar, top 2 Zerg player in Korea. herO, the #1 Protoss in Korea. They're facing off here and now in the round of 16. Sorry, in the round of 8. In round of 8. Crazy. Just goes to show how stacked these tournaments are. Ay, ay, ay. Oh. It is crazy. And here we go. We're going to be getting into this. So far, pretty standard openers. We do have a hatch gas pool from Solar. Is going to be taking this triangular third base as his natural, as he's forced to take the, or as this probe does, force him to take the unnatural natural. Outside of that, herO is going for a gate expand, so nothing too crazy, nothing too out of the norm. So a bit of a more economic opener out of herO to go for the Nexus before Cybercore. So just cutting some corners, but he's aware that he can get away with it. Again, when it comes to the South Korean Zerg players, Solar, he is one of the more standard players. He can be aggressive when he needs to. He can hit certain timing attacks, but when it comes to the early game, he's a little more standard. And as a result, herO, he knows that he's not going to really get punished for things in the early game, unlike, Dark or Ragnarok, some of these more aggressive Zerg players. Here we go. Behind this herO going for a Stargate opener as well. I'm catching up in the chat, pop. Catching up. Shout to Dem exclamate Funada Demi in the chat. Demi, mate, if Ender is in the bracket, why aren't you on the bracket? Where is Demi in my ESL Open Cup Asia? Este Demi. Oh, true, I forgot. Yeah, shout to kurO in the chat reminding us, Bunny, it's his birthday today. Happy birthday, buddy. Happy birthday. He isn't just playing in a tournament, but he's also celebrating his birthday as well. So, yeah, hopefully we can cast him later on. But happy birthday, buddy. Happy birthday. Beautiful. Yo, can we reach? Okay. I was about to say, I don't think we can. As the first death does slip into the main base. Looking for some worker damage and doesn't quite get a drone in the main. Quick moves out of Solar to keep that worker alive. As back at home, herO going for a Stargate opener into the Oracle first. Ooh, Oracle into Phoenix. Okay, herO mixing things up. As the Oracle is moving out. Looking for some economic damage. Likewise, the Adepts they do get caught out on the map, and both of them are going to go down. Good pickoffs here from Solar. It even forces the Oracle back home. Without the Adepts, how do we really protect this third base? As the Oracle did have to go back home. With this Solar, he's free to drone. He was able to delay his Spore Crawlers a little bit further as well. Phoenix is going to shut down the Overlord. And the Oracle finally gets across the map. Not able to find too much damage. Can maybe force a cancel on the Spore, but the Queens have arrived. And the third base of Solar is safe. Meanwhile, behind this, we do have a second Oracle in the field. And from here, herO, he's transitioning quite nicely into a Twilight Council into a Forge. Pretty standard follow-up here from herO. Going for a Blink and +1. I imagine it's Blink, but it could be Charge. We'll see. See what he does go for. As the Oracles, they do make their way in between these bases in towards that third. Oh, and a lot of drones are going to be going down. 6 workers in total. No WCS game height, but it's okay. We can count. 6 drones go down to these oracles. A great use of the adepts. herO just pulling the queens out of position. Getting a lot of damage done. Meanwhile, behind this, it is not going to be Blink. It is going to be +1 and Charge on the way instead. Now, I imagine we're going to be seeing a Templar Archives on the horizon for Charge or Archon. Sentries are on the way. Phoenix just zooming in, just scouting, dipping in between the bases. Not really looking for any real damage, just getting an eye on any kind of tech structures. As we can see, Solar, he's just been droning this entire time. He has Lings, sure, but we have a Roach Warren now on the way. And behind this, herO, he is just going to be focusing on establishing his third base. Lings do go for a counterattack, but we have plenty of units in position. Oracles are here. They even do delay the fourth base of Solar. And Solar is going all in, by the way. Oh my god, the creep is spreading through the center of the map. The queens are moving out as well. Solar going to be cutting workers here at 54. He's saturated on 4 gas guys. Does have another hatchery on the way for Larva, but Lings and Roaches are moving out across them. The creep highway is upon us. This is scouted. Hallucination does come across the queens. Very important scout here from herO. Is he ready for it? There are no shield batteries. We have cannons, but no shield batteries, no overcharge. This is the power of Babylon. Such a small map. The wall, not quite a wall. Force the force field. Sentry goes down. And Solar is looking to bust into that natural base. Biles will connect. The pylon does fall as well. The Robo is depowered. And this may just be too much. herO does have a backup pylon on the way. Solar trying desperately here to bust into that natural. And it looks like he will. The Robo has been repowered. There is an Immortal in production, but there's just not much of an army. The gateway units here, they're just trying to push up a ramp into the Zerg. Immortal comes out, but it's so exposed. And it looks like Solar, he just has too much. The Immortal goes down, Robo falls. There's no shield battery, there is no overcharge. Zealots are coming in to support. That is a lot of Zealots. But alas, Solar with this all-in has just done too much damage. As I say that, the Zealots are actually gaining ground. They're getting on top of the Ravagers. They are getting on top of these Ravagers. And it looks like herO is barely going to hold on. I spoke too soon. We have 7 more Zealots on the way. And it looks like Solar, he's going to have to back off. He has to make sure he just doesn't trade too inefficiently. Queens are falling. Roach reinforcements arrive. Solar, he is droning behind this. He is looking to saturate that fourth. But with these Roach reinforcements, he will get a kill on the natural Nexus. Get herO. He lost his Robo in the midst of all of this. Even though he has a Bay, he can't actually use it. Solar finally backing off. He's fully saturated on his 3 bases. He's droned up to 66. He's got a Baneling Nest on the way. And his next target is going to be the third base here of herO. The third base of herO is going to be going down next. And as amazing as herO is, I just don't know how he can recover. He just sustained so many losses, not just when it comes to workers, but he's rebuilding the Cybercore. He can only morph in Zealots. He still hasn't rebuilt the Roach Warren, sorry, the Robo either. Does catch a lot of these Ravagers. Really good pickup. Really good control with these Phoenixes as well. Once again, the Zealots are getting on top of another Ravager. So a pretty efficient trade here for herO. Trading minerals for gas. But it still feels like there's just too much Zerg. And these are losses that herO cannot afford. Oof. As the Archons are going to be going down. Losing Zealots is one thing, but losing Archons is another. GG gets called, and Solar will take game number 1. GG. Pulling off a very nasty all-in on Babylon. Again, Babylon does have a very short rush distance by ground, especially when we take into consideration the creep highway, and not just the creep highway by the tumors, but also by the overlords as well. For Solar to commit to the all-in, I wonder if he had decided on that because he lost so many workers to the oracles, or if that was his initial plan. All-ins from Zerg against Protoss are very common on Babylon, so it's possible that he just always planned on doing that. And yeah, off of 54 workers, just roaches, lings, queens as well. herO, he saw it coming across the map, but it was a very late scout. It was a very late scout, and as we saw, he was woefully underprepared for it. No shield batteries ready for it. There were a couple of cannons at the third, but that was it. Like, there wasn't really the defensive position that we usually expect here from a Protoss. So a powerful all-in from Solar does give him a lead, and we'll see if he can extend that lead even further and take the series overall, as we're getting into game number 2. Here we go. Again, we also saw earlier that that of course the robot was depowered. Obviously we had the Bay on the way for something like Disruptors or Colossi, but the robot was depowered on the natural and was never able to get into any of those high-tech units for the defense. And now we're going to be getting into our next game. We're going to be getting into game 2, and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Gressfarm, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing Onside Gaming. It is Solar. And spawning in the top left, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Protoss representing CranKy Gaming. It is herO. Boy, and again, Solar, he was able to completely catch herO off guard, bamboozle him with that all-in, but that is also a little bit more unique to some of these smaller maps, whether it's, you know, Dragon Scales or or Dragon Scales or Babylon or Neo-Humanity. On a larger map like Gressfarm, the likelihood of Solar going for a big all-in like that is far lower than some of those other smaller maps, so I'm sure herO is going to be a little more comfortable here. And as a result, I would give him a bit of an edge coming into Gressfarm instead. Solar really does not like that probe. Wants him to get the hell out. Oh, get the hell out of there. As Solar is just going for a hatch gas pool, a very standard economic opener out of Solar. Meanwhile, across the map, herO going for a gate expand once again. Going for a gate expand opener instead. Oh. And we'll see how this all comes to fruition. I wouldn't be surprised if herO does go for another Stargate opener. It would make plenty of sense, especially on a map like this. We have seen herO go for Twilight Council openers in the past. We even saw that a couple of days ago, a couple of nights ago in Masters Coliseum. There it is. We have the Stargate on the way for our Korean Protoss. And we'll see what kind of unit composition he's going to be going for and what kind of initial Skytoss units he goes for as well. Again, we should be seeing an Oracle, but even in the last game, we had an Oracle into a Phoenix into an Oracle. Again, we could be seeing some Void Rays. Again, just to keep the Zerg player in the dark and keep them guessing as to what the Protoss is up to. Oh, good pickup. Getting that early game creep tumor. Slow down the creep here of Solar. Going to make it a little bit more difficult to bounce between the bases and defend. First Oracle is soon to hit the field. Is going to be Oracle first. And hopefully this time herO is able to babysit these two adepts a little bit better than last time. If you remember, they went down very early on in game 1. As they do not commit to the shade, and herO is going to be backing the hell off, going back home. And it is going to be an Oracle first into a Void Ray this time. In game 1, it was a Phoenix. This time a Void Ray, of course, a little bit of a slower unit, but can shut down the first Overlord, and of course can help protect and reinforce the third base. Lings are making their way across the map. Solo looking to delay the third if possible. Up! He does see an opening. Oh, he does barely get the surround on one of those adepts. Does wrap the Lings around. He gets the adept, gets a probe, and can he get the other adept? It looks like he cannot. Void Ray comes out just in time. Up! I spoke too soon. Adept is going to go down. herO pulling back the Void Ray a little bit too late. Overlord gets a scout. Overlord does not see the Oracle. Regardless, Solo does get cleaned up. And once the Overlord goes down, herO does throw down that Twilight Council. Okay. Void Ray on the hunt, looking for more Overlords. Meanwhile, there is no Forge with this, so this is looking like Glaive Adepts. This is looking to be more committed here from herO. We'll see if it's going to be Glaive Adepts or Blink, as additional gateways are on the way. Adepts do shade into that natural base as well. They get another drone. Get another couple of drones, actually. 2 workers go down in the main. Oh. They almost get a third drone as well, so some good damage has been dealt. The Oracles, they come back in as well. The Queen's not quite in position. Void Ray doing what he can. 10 drones go down in total. And herO even snipes another Overlord. Meanwhile, behind this is looking like a big 3-base all-in. Lings have arrived. It is not Glaive Adepts. It is going to be Charge instead. The Warp Prism is on the way. 7 gates in total. Oof. And these things are doing quite a lot of damage. 4 probes do go down there at the third base. But again, 7 sounds a little bit off. There we go. An 8th gateway is thrown down. This is a 3-base all-in from herO. Very committed, especially after losing so many workers. There is no Forge. There are no upgrades. There's no Templar Archives for Archons. There's no longevity here in this army. There's no other form of tech. Just straight up charge lots. Mass charge lots, Bobby. Meanwhile, Triple Oracle going to be threatening that natural base. And here we go. The Zealots have arrived. Do we have any roaches? We don't. GG gets called. I was about to say we have nothing ready for the Zealots. They straight up end the game. And herO takes game number 2. We have a series. We do have a series. Solar, I don't know if you saw at the very end there, he had a Spire on the way. There was no Bailey Nest. There was no Roach Warren. There was nothing ready for those Zealots. Again, Solar, he was expecting a longer game. He was expecting a more standard game. And herO caught him completely off guard. Solar completely exposed. The pans, they weren't just down. The pans, they were gone. They were there were never any pans to begin with. Solar just being caught very vulnerable there. And with that, we have an ace match. We have a game 3. Game number 3. And this could go either way. We've been seeing some very decisive plays so far between our 2 players. Game 1, Solar all-in. Game 2, herO all-in. What happens here in Game 3? Are we going to see a much more standard back-and-forth game? Are we going to get into the mid-game and into 4 bases? We'll see. We shall see. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing Onside Gaming. It is Solar. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player representing CranKy Gaming. It is herO. Alright, here we go. And so far, herO just going for a scout across the map, looking to force the unnatural natural. And there we go. Drone is forced away towards the third base. herO likewise should be getting ready for a gate expand. So far, we haven't really had any fancy openers. We haven't had like a 15 hatch or a 14 hatch. We haven't had any early gases from the Zerg. And likewise, herO hasn't gone for any kind of weird proxies either, which are very uncommon in this matchup. Uncommon. I can see the chat catching up. I see the chat catching up. Like, what? I mean, yeah, like, Solar, he had nothing. He had no Baling Nest. He had no Roachworn. He had nothing ready for the all-in. Just caught completely off guard. It happens. It happens. Oh. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see kind of what kind of game we get into here on Royal Blood. Likewise, Royal Blood, not the largest of maps. You know, it's smaller than, say, like Ancient Cistern or Gressfan or Altitude. You know, I would say it's a little bit more middle of the road. And I'm hoping for a more back and forth. Fingers crossed, buddy. Fingers crossed. As for now, herO is going for a Stargate opener once again. Going to be getting into those oracles. And I'm sure he's going to be working on either a Phoenix or a Void Ray. Again, they do provide so much utility when it comes to just keeping the Zerg player in the dark. And we saw how important it is, especially in the last game, how important it is for the Zerg player to be scouting, right? To be trying to get a read on, especially what the follow-up is. I think Solar, he was kind of taking things for granted. Maybe making assumptions just because it was on Gressvan that, like, oh, you know, I can get away with skipping an overseer scout and delaying my Roachworn as well. Like, I can cut corners. Clearly, he can't. Clearly, against herO, you cannot cut those corners. You need to respect your opponent. As Adept does make its way towards a third. Oh, abusing the high ground here, forcing some lost mining time. Dancing between these bases. And the Adepts, they make their way into the main. One drone already goes down, forcing an Evo chamber, forcing a lot of lost mining time. Already a great amount of damage is done here. And the Adepts are still alive. They recall back home. Meanwhile, the first Oracle has hit the field. And it's going to be the first Oracle into a second, as herO is going to be relying on this Stalker instead to hunt down this Overlord. As the Overlord making a beeline for the dead space is barely going to survive. Oh, and the wall is not a wall. The Lings, they do dip on in, and they shouldn't really get too much economic damage, but they do get a full scout of the main. One probe goes down. I believe they saw the gateways. Oh, herO. Okay, so this is very reminiscent of how Creator and Showtime play this out. So it's going to be a Forge into Twilight Council, a very fast Forge for +1, a delayed Twilight Council for delayed Blink and delayed Charge. So herO, he's going for a much more defensive playstyle, or a little bit of a later timing. He's not going to be as aggressive or as active as he has before. Meanwhile, the Adepts shade in, they get one drone. Evo chamber on the way for +1. And again, you know, because Blink and Charge are going to be a little bit later, it means that herO, he has the ability to just tech up even further. There it is, we have Charge. We should be seeing a Templar Archives for Archons. Depths are warped in for defense. And yeah, herO just going for a very different approach. I appreciate that herO has been mixing it up a lot throughout this series. He's throwing down a couple more gateways. Back at home. herO just going to be harassing here with some of those depths. Oracles dip in. Queen's not at the third base. We don't get any worker kills though. Just lost mining time. As my eyes are on herO. So I assumed that we would be taking up even further and working towards a fourth. But I need to emphasize here that more gateways were thrown down. We have 2 extra gateways, and we are not stopping oracles. It's been a while. This is going to be an oracle charge all in. So herO is going all in off of 3 bases. He's going to be hitting with +1 in charge and mass oracle. He's got 4 oracles. Now, we do see Solar does see this. Oh, he's heavily supply blocked. 5 overlords are now on the way. We need more queens. There we go. We're making 2 queens at a time. More lings are on the way as well. This is going to hit hard. Oracles are moving out. Zealots have arrived. Roaches are on the way, but these queens, they're going to go down one after the other. Now, herO is taking up further from here, but he may not need to because these zealots are getting out of control. The queens are falling left and right. Once again, the roaches are not out in time. And herO takes the series, takes game 3, and the series 2-1. GG. Oh my god. That wasn't even herO's final form, as he was working on +2, he was working on Blink. But yeah, the longer that game went on without the Templar Archives, I was like, hold up, something's wrong here. We have more gateways on the way, and we were continuing those oracles. herO, this is a build that he has done a lot. Just he sprinkles it in, like once every week, once every couple of weeks. It worked. He's done it so well against like Dark and Ragnarok and even Solar as well. GG. GG, well played. Sorry, just fixing the score on the screen. herO eliminates Solar from the tournament. GG, well played. Solar, unfortunately, not quite ready for that. Didn't have any roaches out either. He really just was not anticipating an attack at that time. Once again, Solar wasn't able to scout the main base. He wasn't able to get a read on what herO was up to. Once again, just taking things for granted.